Today I'd like to talk to you about plaiting. Many centuries ago, when I was younger, I had hair over a metre long. I used to be able to plait it with my eyes closed, plait it like that. Now that's a dying art. Most men just seem to have shaven heads these days, and most women seem to have short haircuts. So the art is dying. It's also useful in our hobbies, particularly when it comes to electronics. Now I'm just building the ANET A8 here, and I thought I'd take this opportunity whilst I'm modifying it to show you the technique and why you would use it, especially with electrical wires. So basically, a lot of your printer kits, CNC machines, you add wires. These are the stepper drivers, and they come in certain lengths, 900 metre, depends on where they have to go. But unfortunately, a lot of manufacturers make a variety of machines, and so instead of having an 880, a 900, a 920, they get the longest one. They say, right, we'll make 1,000 of those for $1 rather than 50 of those for $2. So it's all got to do with volume, costs, that type of thing. But then the problem is that when you've routed it all over, you end up with excess, you end up with loose wires. And if you look at any of the advertisers selling the ANET A8, it is a dog's dinner with the wiring. The kit is well made, well cut, top quality, but the wiring detail is crap. And just look at it, it's a dog's dinner. So I am changing it from this to this. And if you watch my video series on the Castle Delta printer, I go into detail how to do the braiding. This is the expandable sleeve type. Just push it in and she gets bigger. So that's what I covered in. I also plait them. A couple of reasons for that. One is it makes the wire a bit stiffer so it can sort of form and go where you want it to go. Two, it also shortens it. I've got one demo here for you to show, and it was 900 long, and when I plaited it, it was 800. So that's roughly the ratio that you shorten it. It depends on how tight you do your plait and how far you push it up. So instead of plait being a smooth S, it might be more like a Z. So that will shorten it more. Some materials allow for easy bending, but as you can see in this wire, I undone it to show you, it kinks. So too sharp bends, too sharp a kink. So that's why we're going to do it. Also, if you ever pull the old desktop PC apart and got the LEDs in there, you'll find that all of those seem to be either twisted pair, you'll hear that term a lot, twisted pair, or plaited. And the reason for that is that when you're carrying an electronic signal, sometimes an outside signal can actually affect the pulses. So by making a twisted pair or plaiting it, it actually sort of puts a bit of a force field along, and so it repels the electromagnetic signals that may interfere. But then you come with another problem called crosstalk, but we won't go into that today. So that's what we want to take this to make it look like that. So how do you plait? It's quite simple, and I'll just show you the basic type first. There's just some crappy bits of material I had left over. So there's a black one, dark grey one, and light grey one. 3. Well, we'll do a 3, that's a basic, and then we'll show you the more complicated one. So do you ever have dinner? Ever have spaghetti? You eat a big bowl of spaghetti, and then you say, no, I'll save some tomorrow. So think of spaghetti. There's these cables, these wires, and when you have spaghetti the next day, it's called a leftover. And that's the basic principle. That's the one phrase you need to remember to start with, leftover. The other one is the opposite, is right over. So to plait, all you have to remember is leftover, right over, leftover, right over, leftover, right over. That's for the 3. So basically, here's the right one, here's the centre one, here's the left one. So it's leftover, right over, left over, right over, left over, right over, left over, right over. So we'll just pull these up a bit tighter. So when you're doing it, which I'll show you in a minute, they're up nice and tight and you make the tight shape and all that. But when you have long wires, pull up the ends. As you plait this end, they plait that end. Now remember your spaghetti, which one do we start with? Left over, right over. So you pull them up as you go along. Left over, pull it up, right over. Left over, right over. Left over, right over. That's how you plait. Now, one problem with a cable, to say it's 900 long, when you plait, seems to depend on which one you start on the outside, that sort of thing, 4, 8, 10, 12, all adds up. You will end up with short lengths. Now, cable should be the same length. So the reason why I unravelled this was the first one I did, and the actual uneven cables were coming up at the plug end. So it fits a lot better on the motor end, like here. This end's perfect. And then it has got a couple that are a bit longer. With this stuff, you can then do it, tie a knot and cut the ends off. When it comes to cabling, you have to work out which end you're going to start with. Also, if you're going to make something out of the braiding, you can use two, and that becomes your hook, and tie it up. So this is just the braiding, not the finishing end and not the starting end. So you know what to do for 3. Now this is 4. That is similar, but a different. Outside over, inside cross. Outside over, inside cross. So we have 4, and we start with the left one, and then so it's outside over, so it goes outside over the 2. Then the inside crosses. So instead of just being 1 to 1, it actually goes over 2, and the next one goes over 2, and they cross in the middle. These go from the outside to the outside to the outside. These go out 1, over 1, in, and then just on the inside over 2. Outside, inside. So if you just remember that, outside over, inside cross. Outside over, inside cross. Now I'll just fire up the other camera. This is one of the many mounts I've made up. Hard drive case and bit of tube, and you can buy all these fittings, and that's what I use to do a bit of the close-up work. Wire up the 7S. That's the diagram there. Get yourself a peg. I held the end secure under here, and you have a peg so as when you have to unravel the end, you can just peg it and it doesn't come loose. So as you can see here, I have done some already. Up the top here starts off at red, blue, green, black. So I'll just show you how quickly you can do it. So again, it is outside over, inside cross. This number 1 here is a red, number 2 is a blue, number 3 is a green, 4 is a black. So it says a red has to go over 2 and 3 and stop before the 4, which is the black. So that's 2 and 3 and stop before inside cross. So number 4 has to come over, and it crosses there. There's a cross I'm talking about. You see that? That's a cross. So instead of going to the outside, they go to the middle. And if you have 6 or 8 plaits, similar thing. So here we go, outside over, inside cross. And you can pull them up. And if you want to check if you got them, have them mucked up in it, it's green, red, blue, black. Green, red, blue, black. If you pull them up real tight, you get a shorter length. But as you can see down the end here, this is where it's starting to tangle over. So you have to make sure you've got them tight in the correct position. Take it off. See, it's starting to get all tangled up now. That's why I curl them up so we untangle. If you think you made a mistake, just undo it and get to a position where you think, yeah, it was okay. Green comes down, green comes across. Red's next to it. I'll just show you how to look for any mistakes you've got. Then you see I've got a black here next to the blue. That means the black needs to cross over. If the crisscross pattern, one's longer than the other, then shorter, you need to just go back and make sure the same length. Over, cross. Over, cross. Over, cross. So you keep doing that. I won't fast forward because I find all that boring. It's the same thing. I can go like that and it's done. So at the end, you may have a couple, say a couple a bit shorter, where you have your connector. You plait up to the shortest connector, and that's where you stop plaiting. If there's 2 more, you can just make them a twisted pair. So when you go to put it in, it may look a bit like that, which is that one there. So I just do a double twisted pair and let them sit like that. So you may end up like that. That's why it's on the motor. But try it. You'll find that it looks a lot neater. It's a lot stronger. Should help reduce some of the interference problems. It then makes sliding through this expandable sleeving a lot easier. Some expanding sleeving is big enough that you can leave the connectors on, but the sharp edges catch and sometimes the connectors are too wide for the actual expanding, because you don't want a big empty tube just so as you can fit the connector on. So what you do is that you get one that fits the size of the wire, the finish bound, and then one that will fit through there if possible. If not, you don't worry about that. But always get sticky tape, and cellophane these loose ones to a point. Then when you're feeding it through the tube, you can push it through and it's not going to grab. So you feed it through the tube, grab it on that end, then let it go, and the expanded tube moves up. So you just snake it through like that. Then these tend to fray a bit. What I do now is I put one piece of heat shrink over there, allow a lot longer length, then I pull this back over itself, and it soon starts to spray out and become loose. So you may need 50mm extra. Then I just put another piece of heat shrink on top of the black. So there's two heat shrink there, smaller one and the bigger one. And then I just heat shrink that, and then that keeps it nice and tidy. But sometimes you can't do that, so you just put the one bit on, come up so as you leave a gap there, and then you put the tube on and heat shrink. That allows it to neck. But be careful, this burns fairly easily at a low temperature, so if you heat shrink too hot, you'll also melt that. Then you just put your connector back on, then you have a lot more professional looking cable to the dog's dinner, rat's nest you had before. Also, if you've watched all my videos by now, you know I use the colour standard, RGB XYZ. That's red. R is the first letter, red, so that's X, B, that's blue, that's a Z. And the green is for the Y. So colour code, plat, remove the least important connector, lock the end off, plat. By the time you get through there, you'll be doing it by memory. You could be looking out, watching TV, whatever. Plat all that, tape up your connectors on the end, feed through your tubing, heat shrink one end, then make any adjustments. You may need to trim it, make sure you put the two pieces of heat shrink on first, put your connector back on, then just heat shrink, and there it is. It can wear, it can rub, much better, much neater, and fairly cheap. So if you enjoyed this video, tell your friends, spread the word, and subscribe. If you did enjoy it, tell me, and as always, thanks for watching.